Hello everyone. In the previous video, we have seen what are transcendental equations and how to solve the questions using bisection method. If you haven't watched the previous video, please do watch it to understand how we can solve the questions using bisection method. So continuing with that, let's solve this equation. So the question is find root of x e power x equal to 1 correct to 3 decimals using bisection method. So what is the equation? F of x is equal to x e power x minus 1, right? This equation we write it in the form of f of x. So f of x is equal to x e power x minus 1. So this one we are sending to the left hand side. Next, what is our first step? We have to find two numbers and between which two numbers we can find out the root. Okay, we will find the numbers a and b, and we will be aware that between a and b we will have the root of the following equation. Okay, so how to find a and b? So f of a into f of b will be less than 0. Okay, that is how we find the root, that is how we find the interval a and b. So if at all some number, let's say f of x is equal to 0, x will be the root, correct? But we have to find two numbers a and b. So where f of a into f of b will be less than 0. So, and the root also lies between these two numbers. So let's try to find those. I'll just draw a table and I'll be having f of x here and I'll be having x here. So let's say my x value is minus 1. When we substitute minus 1 here, so what will be f of minus 1? So it's minus 1 into e power minus 1 minus 1. So which is minus e power minus 1 minus 1. The value of it would be minus 1.367. Next, what if x value is 0? So we substitute 0. F of 0 is 0 into e power 0 minus 1. So the value would be minus 1. Now, what if x value is 1? When x value is 1, we get 1.718. So I don't think we need to continue further, right? Because we got two values, a and b. So f of a and f of b is less than 0, right? If one is positive and other is negative, the multiplication of it would be negative and it will be less than 0. So f of 0 into f of 1 is less than 0, correct? F of 0 into f of 1 is less than 0 because f of 0 is minus 1 and f of 1 is 1.718. It will be less than 0. So we know that f of 0 into f of minus 1 is less than 0. So our interval is 0 and 1. Now let's go back to the question. So now we have got the interval. So I'll just draw another table. We'll be having I here. We will write down the interval a and b here. And what is xi in bisection method? It's nothing but a plus b by 2. So we know that in bisection method we keep shrinking the interval. So first we try to see where the root will be between a and b. So we divide a and b into two halves. We see if the root is in this half or this half. Once we get to know that, if we find that the root is in this half, then we will keep dividing this interval also We'll keep shrinking the intervals until we find out the roots. So it was in detail in previous video. So now xi is a plus b by 2, and now we will also find out f of xi. Okay, this will be our table. Now in the first step, what is our a and b? A is 0, b is 1. The interval is 0, 1. So what will be xi? 0 plus 1 by 2, which is 0.5. So now what is f of 0.5? So f of 0.5 is, f of xi is xi e power xi minus 1, right? So f of 0.5 is 0.5 into e power 0.5 minus 1. So the value of it would be minus 0.176. I am using my calculator. So the value is minus 0.176, which is less than 0. Okay. So now this value 0 is giving us less than 0. F of 1 is giving us greater than 0, right? So 0 and 1. F of 0 is giving us less than 0. F of 1 is greater than 0. For root should be equal to 0, right? So root will be in this interval. Now the middle value is 0.5. What it is doing? It is also giving less than 0. So now we don't consider this interval. We take less than 0 and greater than 0. So as I mentioned in the previous video, always take the middle result. So 0.5 you should include in the next interval, and you have to check if we have to include the previous number or the next one. So this is giving us less than 0. So we will take one which is greater than 0. If this was giving us greater than 0, we would have taken the one which is giving less than 0. Okay. So this is giving us less than 0, right? So next interval would be 0.5, 1. I hope this is clear. So now what is our xi? 0.5 plus 1 divided by 2. Plus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 0.75. Now f of 0.75 is nothing but 0.588, and this value is greater than 0. Now we got a value which is greater than 0. Okay, now we had 0.5, 1, and the middle number is 0.75. This was giving us less than 0, and this was giving us greater than 0. So, and 0.75 was also giving us greater than 0. So the root lies between greater than 0 and less than 0, right? So our next interval would be this. Okay. Previously the middle value was giving less than 0, so we took these two. So our next interval is 0.5, 0.75. That means our root is somewhere between these two numbers. Now what is xi? 0.5 plus 0.75 divided by 2, which is nothing but 0.625. Now what is f of 0.625? 0.625 is 0.168, which is again greater than 0. So now same way, now we have 0.5, it gives us less than 0. Next, what do we have? 0.75, it is giving us greater than 0, and the middle number 0.625, this is also giving us greater than 0. So we would take this interval because we need one which is less than 0 and the other one which is greater than 0, right? So now the fourth one is 0.5, 0.625. And what would be our xi? Actually, since this is I is 1, here we should actually write it as x1, x2, x3 and x4. So x4 is 0.5 plus 0.625 divided by 2, which gives us 0.563. I am rounding to 3 decimals as mentioned in the question. Now what is f of 0.563? This is minus 0.011, which is less than 0. Okay, so this was less than 0, this was greater than 0, and what is f of the middle value is f of 0.563 giving us less than 0. So what do we take? We take less than 0 and greater than 0, 1, right? So now our next interval would be 0.563 comma 0.625, right? Now what is our x5? 0.563 plus 0.625 divided by 2, it is 0.594. Now what will be f of 0.594? This is equal to 0.076. This is greater than 0 again. Okay, so this was giving us less than 0, this was giving us greater than 0, and this is also middle number is giving us greater than 0. So we know this middle number we will obviously include, but since this is greater than 0, we will include another number which is less than 0. So our next interval would be less than 0 is 0.563 comma 0.594. And what would be our x6? 0.563 plus 0.594 divided by 2. So x6 would be 0.579. Now what is f of 0.579? f of 0.579 is 0.033, which is again greater than 0. So this is less than 0, this is greater than 0, and the middle number is also greater than 0. So we would take the middle number and a less than 0 one, correct? Now seventh one would be 0.563 comma 0.579. Are you noticing initially we started with what? 0 and 1. Now our root is between 0.563 and 0.579. We have shrinked the interval very much. So x7 would be 0.563 plus 0.579 divided by 2. So it would be 0.571. Now what is f of 0.571? It's 0.011, again greater than 0. This is less than 0, this is greater than 0. So what we would take? Whatever the middle value we are finding out, and since this was greater than 0, we will include it, and we will take the less than 0 one from our previous interval. So 0.563 comma 0.571. I'm just repeating again. If this was less than 0, we would have taken greater than 0 number from our previous interval. Okay, so now our x8 would be 0.563 plus 0.571 divided by 2, which is again 0.567. Okay, now if we do f of 0.567, this is approximately now 0. Okay, so rounding to 3 decimals. So the root is 0.567, correcting to 3 decimals. I hope this is clear. In the next question, we will solve finding the root of x cube minus 4x plus 9 equal to 0 using bisection method. I think you can also try from your end, and then we can cross check all our answers. So this also is correcting to 3 decimals. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video. Please subscribe if this is helpful.